The most dangerous person in any confrontation is neither the strongest nor the loudest. It's the calmest. This idea may seem contradictory, but that's exactly what Miyamoto Musashi discovered, the greatest swordsman in Japanese history, undefeated in more than 60 duels to the death. What made Musashi unbeatable wasn't just his sword technique. It was something far more subtle: his absolute control over emotions. He developed an emotional control system so refined that his opponents simply couldn't handle him. In this video, you'll discover the 4 principles Musashi used to stay calm even in the face of death, and how to apply these same principles in modern-day confrontations, from a workplace argument to deep personal crises. Because in the end, the one who remains calm controls the game. When someone yells at you or challenges you aggressively, what happens inside your body? Your muscles tense up, your heart races, anger rises, and before you even realize it, you're fully caught in the emotional storm. That's the trap Musashi understood very well. He knew that when you allow yourself to be consumed by the emotions of the moment, you lose control of the situation, and more importantly, you lose control of yourself. Musashi's first principle for winning any confrontation has nothing to do with strength or skill. It's about something deeper: emotional distance. Emotional distance is the ability to separate yourself from what you're feeling, to observe your internal reactions without being carried away by them. Musashi described this as watching a fight from above, like a cloud passing in the sky. He didn't become anger or fear. He simply saw those emotions rise and let them pass. And it's that simple act of not identifying with the emotion that changes everything. It seems simple, but most of us fall into the trap of becoming the emotion itself. When someone insults you, what do you say? I'm angry, or worse, I am the anger. You let it consume you, and it ends up guiding your words, your actions, your decisions. Musashi, on the other hand, took a completely different approach. He acknowledged anger, but didn't let it dominate him. He simply said, I am feeling anger right now. That small difference creates a space between you and the emotion, giving you the chance to respond rationally, not reactively. And how can you start applying this today? When you feel strong emotions during any kind of confrontation, even a simple conversation, do a mental exercise. Just pause for a moment and say to yourself, I notice that I'm feeling anger, or I'm feeling frustration. That simple act of labeling your emotion creates space between you and it. And over time, that space expands, giving you more control. The secret isn't to deny or suppress what you feel, but not to be controlled by it. When you emotionally detach from the confrontation, the storm inside you begins to calm, and that's when you start to gain true power over the situation. Most people enter a confrontation without knowing what to expect. They react on instinct, trying to protect themselves in the heat of the moment. Musashi did the opposite. He believed that to stay calm, you must know what's coming before it happens. That's the second principle, anticipatory awareness. Musashi called this foreknowledge, the ability to perceive an opponent's movements before they even occur. It's not about reading minds, it's about recognizing patterns. Because as complex as we are, human beings react in predictable ways under pressure. Anger follows repeated paths, fear limits choices, impatience reveals weaknesses. Before his duels, Musashi studied his opponents, how they moved, how they responded to stress, what strikes they preferred. He left nothing to chance. In his most famous duel against Sasaki Kojiro, Musashi knew Kojiro was vain, impatient, and used an extremely long sword, so he deliberately arrived late to irritate him further and carved his own wooden sword on the way, slightly longer than Kojiro's. He won before the fight even began because he already knew what to expect. And how can you apply this to your life? Simple. Before entering a difficult conversation, stop for 30 seconds and ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What is this person's likely emotional state? 2. What do they really want from this interaction? 3. What are the 3 most likely reactions they might have? Answering these questions prepares your brain for what's ahead. It reduces the shock of emotional surprise, which is what usually throws us off balance. When you anticipate, your body doesn't enter panic mode. Instead, it prepares with focus and clarity. That's exactly what even FBI hostage negotiators do before any conversation. They analyze the person's emotional profile, review past behavior, and map out potential dialogue paths. With that, they stay calm, even in the most explosive situations, while everyone around them is on the brink of collapse. To anticipate is not to control the other. It's to know the terrain before stepping onto it. The more you understand people's emotional patterns, the less surprised you become, and the more you remain calm. And that calmness in a chaotic world is one of the greatest forms of power. Musashi knew that breathing was the bridge between body and mind. He observed that the moment his opponents felt fear or anger, the very first thing that changed was their breathing pattern. It became fast, short, and erratic, and that respiratory disorder was the early sign of mental imbalance. That's why the third principle of his system is strategic breathing. During battles, Musashi didn't just control his movements, he controlled every breath. He understood that whoever controls the breath controls the emotional state. This wasn't a technical detail. It was a weapon. In his training, he practiced strikes while maintaining deep, rhythmic breathing, because when the body breathes calmly, the mind remains clear, even in the middle of chaos. And this is not just ancient philosophy. Modern science confirms it. When you breathe slowly and in a controlled manner, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the same system responsible for calming the body and restoring balance. On the other hand, fast breathing triggers fight or flight mode, flooding the brain with stress hormones that cloud your reasoning. Musashi developed a simple but powerful technique. Before a decisive moment, he would take a single conscious breath. He would inhale deeply through his nose while counting to 4. Hold it briefly, and then exhale through his mouth while counting to 6. That simple cycle aligned his body and mind, creating a moment of calm within the storm. You can use this exact technique today in a tense meeting, a heated argument with someone you love, or before delivering difficult news. All it takes is a strategic breath. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds, hold and exhale through the mouth for 6 seconds. Even a single cycle is enough to reduce tension and clear your thoughts. Repeat 2 or 3 times, and you'll feel the effect spreading through your whole body. Breathing this way is like pressing an internal reset button. It's a reminder that no matter how agitated the world around you may be, you have the power to create peace within. For Musashi, that calm was the foundation of victory. For us today, it's the foundation of a more lucid, centered, and powerful life. Imagine being in the middle of an intense confrontation, emotions running high, sharp words, tension in the air. Most people in this situation react automatically. They want to win the argument, prove a point, strike back. But Musashi did it differently. He didn't fight to satisfy his ego. He fought with a clear purpose. And that's what makes the fourth principle so powerful: purposeful action. Musashi believed that acting without a defined goal was the same as fighting blind. His opponents often entered duels consumed by rage, by the need to prove their strength, or by fear of losing. Never Musashi. He had a specific focus. He knew exactly what he wanted with each movement, each decision. He wrote, "The warrior must not have the intention to attack first, but to remain centered on his higher purpose." That clarity of purpose kept Musashi from being swept away by the emotional storm. And in today's world, that's even more necessary. How many arguments have you had that started for a real reason, but soon got lost in accusations, past resentment and accumulated pain? That happens when no one remembers why the conversation began in the first place. When purpose is lost, everything becomes chaos. The solution lies in a simple practice, straight from Musashi's philosophy. Before entering any conflict, a difficult conversation, a tense meeting, or even a delicate message, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is my true goal here? Answer it in a single sentence. Something clear and direct that will serve as your emotional anchor. It could be, I want to resolve this misunderstanding without causing more pain, or I want to defend my point without disrespecting anyone, or even I want to protect my peace during this interaction. When emotions start rising, repeat that purpose to yourself. It will keep you grounded, prevent you from acting on impulse. Your words and actions begin to serve your goal, not your wounded ego. Having a clear purpose doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means your emotions now serve something greater. Instead of working against you, that focus turns any confrontation into something that can build rather than just destroy. Musashi understood this deeply. He wasn't calm because he was numb. He was calm because he had clarity, and that clarity came from purpose. When you know why you're fighting, you choose when to fight, and more importantly, you choose when not to. True power doesn't lie in winning confrontations, it lies in transcending them. Musashi discovered this centuries ago, that mastery in the art of combat wasn't about defeating others, but about mastering yourself. His 4 principles, emotional distance, anticipatory awareness, strategic breathing, and purposeful action, are not just battle tactics. They are paths to a more conscious, centered, and free life. At its core, what he taught us goes far beyond the sword, the conflict, or the victory. It's a philosophy of life based on not attaching to passing emotions, on seeing the world clearly and acting with intention. It's the same teaching found in Buddhism with the idea of non-identification with the ego, and in Taoism with the concept of wei, the effortless action that flows with the natural rhythm of life. Today, we live surrounded by confrontation, social media, traffic, politics, relationships. Everything seems to provoke an immediate reaction. But the truly powerful person in modern times is not the one who shouts the loudest or hits the hardest. It's the one who stays serene while everyone else loses control. It's the one who chooses wisely where to spend their energy. And where silence is the noblest response. When you begin to master these principles, you discover something curious. Many conflicts simply disappear because they only existed within you. And by transforming yourself, you change the nature of the world around you. Just like Musashi, you stop being merely someone who faces battles and becomes someone who transcends them. This is the path, not of brute strength, but of inner strength. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to breathe deeply and remember, true control doesn't come from force, it comes from awareness. And if you want to keep exploring wisdom like Musashi's and other ways to see the world with more clarity, purpose, and balance, consider subscribing to the channel. Here the journey is always inward, and every step is a discovery.